It's a strange book, as I've talked to different groups, both adults and teens and middle schoolers and people of all ages really. I've had to describe it in different ways. I've called it a magical realism novel. I've called it fabulism, and it's a contemporary novel with fantastical elements. It's about a girl named Mercedes. She and her sister find an enchanted piano on the lawn of their house in Sarasota, Florida. And that piano leads them to this strange magical art studio where everything in Mercedes' art and her life can be perfect. And she has to decide how much or what she wants to give up to stay there. It's a novel that was born of some characters my sister and I created when we were kids. And so while the draft of it took me only a couple months to write, I tend to say that this book was really about 20 years in the making because I was really working on it in my head for that long, just working on these characters. They were in my subconscious kind of with me as I grew up. And I really enjoyed writing about them for this book. And it was such a joy to have this as my first published novel. So I'm going to read the first chapter for you, which is the one that involves the enchanted piano. The piano appears on our lawn the week after our mom left. I am swigging orange juice in the living room, trying to decide whether to take mom's car to school. Then I pass by the window, and there's the piano, sitting on the grass, straight-backed and confident as a Marcel Duchamp sculpture on display at the MoMA. I drag Angela from the kitchen out to the yard. Well, you said you always wanted to learn to play, I tell her. I didn't think it would happen like this, Angela says. She taps the key farthest to the right, and it dings out a little note. It sounds like a shy kid speaking out in class for the first time. She plays a few more, and they're clearer, louder, coming at us in layers. A car drives by and honks at the three of us, the piano, my sister, and me. Mercedes, try it, Angela says. I clunk my hands down in the middle of the piano. A couple of friendly Florida lizards scatter across the driveway in response to the mess of sound. Brilliant, Angela says. She looks at the keys again, and I think she's getting ready to stay there and compose a symphony or maybe a rock opera. I recognize the look on her face as a feeling I had once, and that I wish I could get back. The feeling of being on the brink of creation. It's heady and sweet. A little like love in the way it fills up your chest, but less dangerous. I mean, less dangerous until you know what you've gotten yourself into. Angela looks at me pleadingly, and really, what are we going to do? Tape lost piano signs around the neighborhood? No way. The door to the other half of the duplex creaks open and shut, and we're in the presence of Rex, our neighbor and landlord, a bearded industrial freezer of a man who never likes to be left out of the activity of the neighborhood, whether that's a backyard cookout, or the police stopping by the house 2 doors down again, or the admiration of an upright piano. Morning, ladies. Rex is wearing his early spring uniform, swim trunks and an FSU t-shirt under a bathrobe. You need some help with that? Actually, yeah, I say. Thanks. Rex steadies himself behind the piano and pushes it off the rough grass and onto the driveway, where it rolls unevenly to our half of the duplex. Angela, with a massive grin on her face, holds the front door open as Rex angles the piano through the doorway. We both know Rex wants to ask. He wants to ask about almost as much as we want to tell him. No, we have no idea where it came from, but it's a nice distraction, isn't it? Just, I guess, anywhere in the living room is fine, I tell him. Rex surveys the living room from his vantage point as the tallest thing in our house. Angela and I haven't moved anything in the room since our mom's fevered departure for San Juan, and it still holds all the souvenirs of her. Mascara-stained tissues on the end tables, a paperback thriller wedged open on the arm of the recliner, her phone charger plugged in and sucking energy from the air. A week ago, all of this was a kind of a darkly comic still life about Mom being away for a few days. But last night, she called and told us that Abuela's condition had worsened. I couldn't sleep after that. I sat in this room and stared at every little thing she had left behind. It seemed like the most important thing to do at the time. Against the window, I say. The window? Angela and Rex say together. Come on, we never look out of it. I do, Angela says. How about on the other wall? We can just move the chair somewhere else. Wait, don't move the chair. I sit in it all the time. I pick up the paperback from the arm of the chair and hold my mother's place on page 153. The hero is trapped in a basement and is trying to figure out how to slip through the one thin window at the top of the wall. There's a twist, isn't there? Oh, yes. The wall itself is weak. He punches at it, then slams a wooden chair into it, and the corners crumble, and he is free. Can you please not smoke in Mom's car, Angela says. She's going to know. She already knows. I hit the button that opens all the windows at once. And anyway, I might have already quit when she gets back. We're at that perfect time of year in Florida, when Florida isn't dressing up in dusty beads of humidity or 10-minute monsoons. The air is weightless, and the morning haze that usually hangs over our street has been replaced with a bright, clear picture of what lies ahead, like a daytime version of an Edward Hopper painting, like the world cracked open at the horizon and saying, oh, hey, Mercedes and Angela Moreno, welcome to your day. And we can try to get to that place, but it will hide from us again and again. Time for a Victoria detour, Angela says. I already texted her. How can we not do a Victoria detour when we've got this sweet ride? I knock my fist against the plastic body of the gray Ford Focus. Yeah, so Mom's car is nothing much, but it doesn't grumble on startup like my old Pontiac does, and the stereo system is 1,000 times better. Angela laughs hard, a big laugh that makes me nostalgic for last week, and I pull my hand back in the window and smoke a little so that my cigarette doesn't burn itself out in the perfect air of the day. Marcel Duchamp, the French artist who famously grabbed a urinal, painted his pseudonym on the side, called it Fountain, and displayed it as art, once decided to bottle the air of Paris. 50 cc's of Paris air, he called it. The first bottle broke, artistically I'm sure, and so he bottled the air again and displayed it in Philadelphia. Dude could do anything and call it art, or not art, or anti-art, and people would come to see it. And he could capture a day, a place, a breath. At a stoplight, I grind out the cigarette and tuck it away in the Ford's clean little ashtray. Angela nods at me. I'm surprised Mom didn't suggest we stay at Victoria's house, she says. We could probably live in the back half of the house and nobody would notice for a week. Yeah, I've thought of that myself, maybe more of a few times, but I'm not going to say so. Officially, Vic is my best friend, and that's it. Her house doesn't have a piano, though. Victoria is quiet because she knows about Abuela Dolores in the hospital in San Juan, and because she knows our mom's going to be away for a lot longer than planned, and because she probably knows that we don't know how to feel about any of this yet. She's good like that most of the time. And maybe Victoria senses, like I do, that if Angela and I unsettle the air too much, Abuela could die. Angela is in the back, her biology book yanked up in front of her face. Vic, sitting in the front, hasn't put on her sunglasses yet, and her dark hair is down, settled in still waves on her shoulders. She comes from a small family where the only people who ever die are the tangential ones, the great-great-uncles in Brooklyn, expiring quietly under a blanket of smiles and stories. Still alive? She finally asks. Who? Angela asks. Us, Mom, or Abuela? All of the above, Vic says. She glances at me sideways, our eyes lock, and then the sunglasses go on. All accounted for, I tell her. I can't even believe you guys are going to school today, Vic says. You should stay home and work on your painting, Mercedes. I wanted to see you, that's all. I could tell her this, because the sedan in front of us is taking its sweet time making its left turn, and then, if she likes that I'm only here because she is, we could take Angela to school and head back to the Moreno half of the duplex for the day. Sure, she would insist on getting to her dance class on time, and I'd still have to sneak back into school later to pick up Angela, but we'd have the whole morning, all that time, and the drive to the dance studio, her bare feet gripping the curve of the glove compartment, her hand lying in that brilliant space between our separate gray seats, her fingers playing at the place I burned the fabric with a long-ago Parliament light before I understood what it was like to have her in the car with me. You always say you paint better at home, she says. I tug at my hair instead of diving for another cigarette. She's tied tightly into her trench coat, and now her hands curl around the red purse on her lap. I know she wants to say the right thing, the thing that comforts and sympathizes, the thing that cat nuzzles your leg and then walks confidently away. But if she knew what that was, she would have said it already. Yeah, well, I have a German quiz today. I think maybe I do. And I really do need to go to art class. We're supposed to hear about the county show. I'm the last one to get out of the car because I'm double wrangling my art toolbox and a big sketch pad. Victoria pops up behind me and grabs the toolbox, which is the same red as her purse, and she swings it by her side as though it belonged to her all along. I shut the car doors lightly, as though I'm placing a new piece of pottery into a kiln. Maybe I've kept a little bit of this morning in the car. We'll probably need whatever leftovers we can get by this afternoon. Angela trundles ahead to the science wing. Vic stops swinging the toolbox and falls into step with me as we head up to Sarasota Central's main entrance. You look like you're freaking out, Vic gives me a small smile. Like she's not sure I can handle a full one. Name a place. The Hospital del Maestro in San Juan. Okay, fine. How many people at the Hospital del Maestro are saying some form of the word crap right now? My mother is one of them, if I know her at all. How many people, I begin, are at the Hospital del Maestro are saying some form of the word crap because they can't remember how they wound up in the emergency waiting room? Vic hands my toolbox to me as she considers this. She unbuttons her trench coat. It's already getting warm. She has a purple dress on underneath. I pass. Everything I can think of is gross. Start a new one, same place. Okay, how many people at the Hospital del Maestro are having an out-of-body experience right now? Hey, let's not get supernatural here. The unwritten bylaws of this game say I can do whatever I want. I try to make a grand gesture, Abuela Dolores style, with my free hand. Infinite possibilities. We know them all, don't we? Vic says. We do, I tell her.